Today, we're diving into a topic that I think is absolutely crucial for crafting immersive, unforgettable stories. Point of view. Have you ever read a book that made you feel like you were living inside the main character's skin, privy to their most intimate thoughts and feelings? Or maybe you've read a story that felt more distant, like you were watching the events unfold from a remove, without that bone-deep connection to the characters. Chances are, a big part of what created those different reading experiences was the story's point of view, the perspective through which the narrative was filtered. In this video, we're going to do a deep dive into what point of view really means in fiction writing and why it's such a game changer for how readers engage with your story. We'll break down the different types of POV you can play with as a writer and explore how your choice of perspective can radically shape everything from your plot revelations to your character dynamics to your story's overall emotional impact. By the end of this discussion, you'll have a whole new appreciation for the power of point of view and a toolkit of strategies to help you wield that power with intention and skill in your own writing. Sound good? Let's jump in. First things first. When we talk about point of view in fiction, what do we actually mean? In the simplest terms, POV is the narrative lens through which a story is told. It's the perspective that's guiding the reader through the events of the plot, revealing certain information and experiences while holding back others. And that perspective is usually tied to a specific character or characters in your story, the ones whose thoughts, feelings, and experiences are steering the ship. A classic example of this is F. Scott Fitzgerald's The Great Gatsby. The entire novel is told from the first-person perspective of Nick Carraway, the story's narrator. Everything we learn about the lavish parties, the mysterious Gatsby, the tumultuous relationships, is filtered through Nick's point of view. We're privy to his judgments, his biases, his emotional reactions, and that intimate access to his inner world fundamentally shapes how we interpret and respond to the events of the story. As a writer, your choice of point of view is one of the most important decisions you'll make for your story. It's going to determine what information you reveal to readers and when, how close they feel to your characters, and what kind of overall narrative experience you're crafting. So it's really worth taking the time to think critically about which POV will serve your story best. One of the biggest impacts point of view can have is on the reader's connection to your characters. When you tell a story through a character's eyes, you're inviting readers to step into that character's shoes, to see and feel and understand the world as they do. It creates an incredibly intimate bond between reader and character. Suddenly, we're not just observing the story from the outside, but living it from the inside. J.K. Rowling does this masterfully in the Harry Potter series. By using a limited third-person perspective that sticks close to Harry's experiences, she builds a profound sense of empathy and investment in his journey. We feel his wonder and terror at discovering the wizarding world, his joy in finding friendship and belonging, his grief and rage at the losses he suffers. That tight POV helps us not just understand Harry's experiences, but truly feel them in our gut. Of course, that deep dive intimacy is just one effect that point of view can create. On the flip side, you might choose an omniscient third-person perspective to give readers a broader, more sweeping view of your story world and the characters in it. This POV can hop into different characters' heads, revealing hidden connections and motivations that no single character would be aware of. It can also create a sense of epic scope, of events unfolding on a grand scale beyond any one person's perspective. Or you might opt for first-person POV to really let readers live inside your protagonist's mind, but with the added twist of unreliability. When the narrative is filtered through a character's biased, limited perspective, it opens up all sorts of delicious possibilities for confusion, misinterpretation, and surprise revelations. Readers have to work to sift the truth from the characters' skewed perceptions, which can make for a really active, engaging reading experience. The key is to think carefully about how you want readers to engage with your characters and story, and then choose a point of view that will support that goal. Do you want them to feel a fierce, almost familial protectiveness over your protagonist? A limited, third-person perspective that sticks close to that character's experiences might be the way to go. Do you want readers to feel like they're piecing together a complex puzzle, never quite sure who or what to believe? A first-person POV with a potentially unreliable narrator could be a great fit. But point of view isn't just about character connection. It also has a huge influence on your plot, setting, and themes. The perspective through which you filter your story will shape what information is revealed, when, and how those revelations land for readers. An omniscient narrator might drop tantalizing hints about a character's secret past or a looming plot twist, building anticipation and suspense. A limited perspective, on the other hand, will conceal any information the focal character doesn't know, creating an element of surprise as the reader discovers things right alongside them. One of my favorite examples of how POV can amp up plot is in Gillian Flynn's Gone Girl. The novel starts off alternating between the first-person perspectives of Nick and Amy, a married couple whose relationship is not what it seems. Through their dueling accounts, we get a complex, multifaceted view of their characters and history. But as the story unfolds and new information comes to light, those perspectives start to feel increasingly unreliable and contradictory. The intimate first-person POVs heighten the book's themes of deception, identity, and the dark underbelly of marriage. We're drawn into Nick and Amy's conflicting realities, never quite sure what or who to believe. And that tension and uncertainty is what drives the book's propulsive, twist-filled plot. So, as you're developing your own story, think holistically about how your choice of point of view will interact with all the other elements of your narrative. Will a broad, omniscient perspective allow you to weave together multiple complex storylines? Will a limited first-person POV heighten the impact of your story's big reveals and reversals? Will diving deep into a character's inner world help you explore your story's central themes and questions? The more intentionally you can connect your POV to your plot, setting, character, and theme, the more cohesive and powerful your story will be. All right, let's recap what we've learned today. Point of view is the narrative lens through which your story is told, the perspective that guides readers through the plot and characters. And it's a majorly powerful tool for shaping how readers connect with your characters, experience your story's revelations and themes, and interpret your fictional world. Different POVs create different effects, from the intimacy and unreliability of first person to the epic scope and insider knowledge of omniscient third. As a writer, your job is to choose the point of view that will most effectively support your story's goals and create your intended reader experience. So here's your next step. Crack open your favorite novel and try to identify its point of view. Is it first person, second person, limited third, omniscient? How does that POV influence your experience of the characters and plot? What kind of emotional connection does it foster, or not, with the protagonist? How would the story change if it was told from a different perspective? The more you can analyze how other authors are using POV, the more options and inspiration you'll have for your own writing. Speaking of getting inspired in your writing, if you want to take your skills to the next level and support this channel at the same time, I've got an online course that digs way deeper into other essential story elements. I've packed it with techniques to help you tell unforgettable stories that connect with readers on every level. You can find all the details in the description below. But for now, I'm dying to hear your thoughts on point of view. What are some of your favorite examples of authors using POV in masterful ways? Do you have a go-to perspective that you love to write in?